This is just kind of a cool, dark canyon.
The Buckskin Gulch, a canyon in southern Utah, is one of the main tributaries of the Paria River, which is itself a minor tributary of the Colorado River. It is the longest and deepest slot canyon in the southwest United States and may be the longest in the world. As such, it is one of the premier destinations for slot canyon hikers and receives a high amount of foot traffic. Kendall is always coming up with these great adventures for us to go on, whether it be biking in the Keys of Florida or hiking in Europe or like our trip to Yellowstone in the winter. So when I got this text message for Kendall, I had to find out more. The idea was we would go to the Buckskin Slot Canyon with his relatives and hike down. We were going to go down the one canyon and then come up another canyon. So it'd be about a 20-mile hike in a day. At over 13 miles in length, it is often visited in conjunction with the longer Paria Canyon. With a distance of 20 miles, hiking this in one day is possible. Wire Pass, a short tributary to the Buckskin, is an ideal alternative for a short day hike that still takes hikers through the narrow, curving features that are the hallmark of slot canyons. Wikipedia says Wire Pass and Buckskin Gulch generally do not require rappelling equipment, but there may be a few poros or the necessity to wade in ankle to chest high water and or mud. Slot canyons are particularly dangerous due to the risk of flash floods. Storms more than 50 miles away can send 100-foot-high walls of water down the narrow canyons, and hikers have been killed in such events. Hikers should check conditions carefully and not rely on seeing the sky to judge the weather. If there is even a slight chance of rain, do not enter slot canyons.
So here we are. This is where we slept last night. Kendall slept curled up in the back of the car, and I slept on the dirt. And here's the problem: is we got this little Prius, and as you can see, this is not. this is like a high clearance vehicle road. In fact, if you look here on the front of the car, trying to get through one of those through one of the washes, we scooped up dirt with the front of the car. So we're just hoping that that we'll be able to get back out here. Some of the places, like on the way in, I scraped bottom here on the rocks right here, and that's when I decided I was going to quit. I think I can get back over this better and not scrape on the way up, but there's some places up here. The ruts are kind of deep, and this dirt is just like soft, and so I couldn't stay up on the edges. I just kind of fall down into the ruts, and so I think when the places where it's steep, you can see this footprints and stuff is just sand, wet sand, and so yeah, I can see I scraped bottom here a bit. Scraped a little dirt off right there. So hopefully the steeper hills will have enough traction to be able to make it back up these hills. And we don't have a shovel, so it'd be nice to have a shovel to fill in the ruts so that we could get through this. So it's going to be fun trying to get back out. Can we go around?
No, let's go through. It's still a walk. Okay.
Oh, if my backpack was skinnier, I could get through right here. I don't want to get my feet wet again. So there's a narrow slot right here. Take my backpack off so it can go through. And I can get through it. So there it was. And that was just so that I didn't have to walk through that.
You made it.
Kendall back there, walking through the mud puddles. I am smarter. I walk through the narrow cracks instead.
Hiking Buckskin Gulch is extremely challenging. Be prepared with extra clothes to wear for warmth after wading through cold, stagnant pools of water, rather than depending on campfires, which are prohibited in this confined environment. Additionally, the lack of sunlight in the canyon can make it much colder than the surrounding exposed desert. At one point along the route, there is a 15-foot drop-off that usually has rope, but it is a good idea to bring at least 30 feet of rope to navigate some of the pour-offs. Small areas of quicksand can also be found along the route.
The end of my dry feet, huh?
Maybe look at that other one.
Yeah. That's not too deep. This is cool. This is like deep. Just, yeah, I'm trying. I hear people. I think I hear them. Is that Brian up there? Oh man. This one's deep. Oh, this one's deep. Does that work? Get back down when you get to the top? Cleaned up camp, and when I got there, all there were was depressions in the snow where they had been. It would have been nice, because then they would have had like real food for me and a warm place to stay and things like that. But so the research center, it's a government base, but it's like they scheduled a time for me, and then I got a tour for like a few hours inside the tour. No, because they get that kind of stuff all the time. You know, there's people doing. This bad thing is I stunk so bad. Yeah, 51 days of working out 13 hours a day, and the only thing you have to clean up with is frozen baby wipes. Yeah. Oh, I smelled so bad. Yeah, no. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I stunk so bad. You know that song, My Shadow's the Only One That Walks Beside Me? No, my shadow wouldn't even stay beside me. I smelled so bad. And so I went in there, and I've probably never felt that bad in my whole life. Really? It was so hot. Really? And I was just, I've never been drunk, but the other guy that was with me, that he arrived at the South Pole the day after I did, and he's like, oh man, I feel like I'm drunk. And I felt so sick, and I couldn't stand up straight. Wow. It was just too hot.
That is so weird. So it took you a while to like acclimate back to like.
Civilization made you sick?
No, the temperature inside the research base at the South Pole.
When you flew home or whatever?
Yeah, my flight back was miserable. Because you know those international flights, how they get cold? I was so hot and miserable on that flight.
Because your body is adapted.
Yeah, that flight from a guy, Henry Worsley, he decided he wanted to go from the coast of Antarctica on the one side through the South Pole and out to the coast on the other side, all by himself, so solo, with no resupplies at all.
What?
Yeah. And
That's like not even possible.
well, you may be right.
Oh, this is really sorry. I'm gonna see it in.
Yeah, he made it to the South Pole, and then he was headed back out, and he just got I mean, he was doing like I was, had been working like 13 hours a day. And he got to where he was like 120 miles or so from finishing. And he completely, he'd run out of time. So he basically had to be pulled out because you have to, you know, when the last flight leaves, you have to go with it. So he'd pretty much run out of time, but not only that, he'd completely run out of energy. And so he just totally collapsed and couldn't move anymore. And so they flew in and picked him up and said, "Oh man, you are in trouble." And so they immediately flew him out because, you know, normally you fly back on whatever the next scheduled flight is. They immediately flew him back to Chile. They took him in the hospital and he died the next day. Chest high, chest high. Yeah, it's very cool, cold. Yeah. We'll take a peek back right on Kendall. I am cold. You know, it's just one of those things that's such a cool thing, and nobody had done it, and so it's like, how could I not do this? You got an opportunity to do something so cool, how can you not do it?
How do you prepare for that? Like physically?
Ride the bike a lot, and it smells so good.
Yeah, it's fresh.
And it's deep. Awesome.
Man, I don't think my feet have ever been this cold in life.
Really?
Yeah.
This is deep.
Definitely not the hardest thing, but I am cold.
Look at this guy.
Oh my gosh, this smells like I'm gonna puke.
It wouldn't make it smell any worse.
I don't even know how to clean out of this.
Oh man. Okay, so I have hepatitis, or like I'm gonna have diarrhea for a week. I don't know.
How do we get it?
Gotta work through it.
Oh my word.
Yes.
You got this, Kendall.
Gee. Oh my goodness. This is freaky. I'd love a video of this.
I got it. It's shaky video, but I got a video. Dang, I can't hold the camera still at all. See, look.
Sorry.
And it's stuck in a spot.
This is
Just
tough.
hold on
man.
a second.
The worst place to be stuck. Just saying.
We're not stuck, but.
We are because we gotta wait for Kendall. You're freezing people back here.
You know, I'm trying to be. Sorry.
It's okay. You just keep giving you more stress.
Just know that those guys behind you are freezing because you're slow.
Let's see you guys wait through. Whoa. This is the weirdest stuff ever. It's like cement.
I don't know what it's like cement.
That is so freaky. Isn't that freaky?
Whoa. This is retarded. This is kind of almost as dumb as riding my bike to the South Pole.
Picture of that man. That's freaky.
All right, I'm not judging you.
How'd you guys stay on top of it?
I don't know. You can't. And he scratches up your legs.
Someone
And,
see sunglasses?
Just step on top of it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
just
know
lost
your
my shoe. Can you grab that?
I can't.
do you see any sunglasses?
Certainly.
You're not going to find them.
Did anyone see sunglasses?
No.
Oh, that's bad.
When did you have them last?
Just now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You can go back through that and look for them.
I think it's time for new ones.
I think, it's not that bad. Oh, man. Now, not only am I cold, but my legs are all scratched up.
I know. That's freaky.
Oh, man, then I got something in my shoe now.
That's where you wanted the pant legs. To protect your legs from the sticks.
My sunglasses.
I'm just hoping we can find some more sunshine soon. Oh man, my feet are cold. It's getting lighter. With the food.
7,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
Whoa. How much weight did you drop?
I was so skinny. I don't know, because as soon as I could, I started eating as much as I could. But I was so skinny, like when somebody's lost a lot of weight and they have just the skin hanging off their arms and stuff, the skin was just hanging off. I'm pretty sure I had 0 body fat left.
Wow.
I had burned a lot of muscle. I was just skinny, awful looking. I was probably more depleted I put more hours in per day than is normal. My problem is nice acoustics here, huh?
Awesome. You want to play some songs?
Yeah. Driller would be good through here. It doesn't look too deep.
Okay, you go first and we'll
Okay.
Yeah, he's going.
Okay, I'll see how deep we are. Yeah, not too bad. It does get your feet wet again. Got home from buying Christmas presents for us, so the house was baking. Yep, I can deal with neat. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be dark before we get out.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is there any options that way?
I think this way looks not too bad.
So how we went is through here. How much water's in there?
Oh, is this the rock jam?
Yeah, this is the rock jam.
And that way doesn't look passable.
So it's like,
Guessing you would that one.
okay, we went back.
How is it dry down there?
Yep.
This is cool.
Hand me my plan.
Okay. Yeah, and then let's get all the packs down.
I'm gonna hop down one more, then I'm gonna go down because I'm gonna run out of space.
Okay.
Well, that's all of us that are here right now,
Okay,
anyway.
so somebody wait. Tell them how to come down, and we'll wait right here.
Okay. I can wait.
You gonna be okay? You warm enough? Water.
I think, and I talked to lots of people who've gone to Alaska, and they said, the key was to have enough weight to drag that sucker in.
Get it down low.
Oh, they did 2 miles.
I wish. I lost Kendall. That's so cool. Yeah.